Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood friendly Kiwi Tash from Midworth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her fantasy romance era.
Settle down onto your favourite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the town. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and today's going to be a little bit more melancholy, deep diving into the connections of our favourite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain mess ups because who even knows words?
Dearest listeners, we spend time watching Lady D and Violet's relationship turn from co-conspirators in the ton to true friends. Colin and Eloise have a come to Jesus moment. Finally, they've needed one. And the mamas with nothing in common bond over meddling with their children's quarrel. Also, we dissect the line worse than I would never dream of courting Penelope Featherington. That has been usurped by perhaps that was part of your planned entrapment.
Bitch, please.
And we're going to decode its...
The entire meeting, bitch, please. The end.
Actually, I think it's a little, his ego's bruised, but I think it's a little crafty Colin, and I'll explain when we get there.
Okay. Would we like to discuss pod snacks? Pod snacks.
Yes, I would. Because I did cooking alchemy today, and I am really pleased with it. I took a recipe that I make all the time. In fact, I make it so much my sister asked me to make it for her wedding, because rather than get a caterer, they did her now husband rules a smoker. Like, he's really good at smoking meat. So they did.
Of course he
meats.
does. He's his own little dragon.
Well, he's not as dragony as Smaug. We have to come up with a different dragon. What are the dragons' names from Dragon Tales? He's more of like
Toothless,
animated cartoon.
Does he have all his original teeth?
Yes. He's like Pete's dragon. Like, he's a cute little animated dragon.
Okay.
He's not Smaug ruling over the school.
No. Let's go with Toothless then.
Yeah. He could have a menacing streak. I just don't know about. He's way more introverted and way more tame than Smaug is.
But they have the same initials, the same first name. Same first name. And both a little bit smoky. So, dragon.
Well, and he is dragon because he likes to smoke. He smokes meat. So they did smoked meats like for sandwiches, and then Mindy asked different friends to make side dishes that she loves that they make. So she had me make corn casserole, because after I lived in Tennessee, I started bringing that to family functions. So I had some stuff left to make corn casserole today, but I wanted it to be different because I just had it yesterday. So I cut up some kielbasa and fried it in a pan and added it to it, so it made like a casserole. It's so good. And as far as drinks go, I of course have water. I do have a soda today, which I've been not really drinking a lot of soda lately, but Kay's man DJ'd my sister's wedding, and they stayed at my house the night before, and they brought me diet, a zero flavor of soda, and they brought two. I found one as a surprise in my fridge, but I also woke up congested. I had managed to not have a cold all winter, and I woke up today with cold symptoms. So I have my knock it all out of you tea concoction that I make, where it doesn't matter what tea bag you use, but I'm using one that has adaptogens in it. It's like turmeric and something. And then I put in about a tablespoon of lemon juice, about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a cinnamon stick, and some honey. And all that stuff just knocks cold symptoms right out of it.
And Tash will be back after an intermittent silence because her solar panels might have just been damaged and they've gone off grid. Stephen just called me to say we got a warning on our phone saying it's the hail. We've got a warning error, and Stephen needs me to go check our solar.
Oh my
$30,000.
Oh, brand new solar.
I will be back.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Sorry for that brief intermittence. I am no electrician.
They might be okay.
They might. I have no idea. To be honest, I don't know if they've got some sort of like turn off switch emergency, but I digress. I'm going to stress eat my twisties. Thanks to Di for bringing them over from Australia for me. So I have my cheese twisties, extra Di flavor as they came from her bag because the bag burst. Just give it a little blow. She's all good. Right. pod news for the day. There is so much, honestly.
Yeah, so Bridgerton news, pod news. Season 4 has dropped, my friends, like the last half. We have the whole season and we have thoughts. So after we record this podcast, we will be recording
No.
an entire season.
The other one's going first.
I know, but we're recording it after.
Yeah.
I was getting to that. I was like, we're recording this after, but you're going to hear it first because that's going to come before this. We want to discuss the whole season. We haven't even talked to each other aside from our live reaction about the whole season. So we're pretty excited about that. What else? Di traveled to go see Tosh. So Patty is not the only one that has met Bridgerton podcast friends out in the wild.
Rest assured, Middle-earth does exist.
Tosh had to go pick up her her explorer at the airport. Like they didn't just meet up in the wild somewhere. Like she had to go pick her up because she flew there. But that's really cool. And Di participated in our season 4 second half reactions, and that was really fun. Now we just have to hope because we are transitioning. We're thinking about transitioning podcast provider services, like who we use to record. And right now we recorded for a trial offer on another service, and
that service is actually specifically created for podcasts, so it gives us a lot of functions that we don't have, and it will really streamline our process.
We'll go from hours and hours of editing to, I think I've edited 3 things in there over the course of 2 days, where it usually takes me 3 to 4 days total, doing a little at a time after I get off of work. The editing process is so much faster, but we are struggling to export, to want to get the edited final product out of their service and into a way we can upload it to our various platforms. So they're figuring that out for us. We don't know if we're going to go there or not. That's why we're not naming names. So we may lose those reactions altogether, which will be very, very sad to me. We decided to record on that service for our free trial to see how
at dawn
went.
We riot.
Yeah. We riot at dawn. Get your pitchforks. Let's see what else. Bridgerton news. Luke Newton went to the Boss Fashion Week show, and he looked like a boss too. Man. Although I'm really upset because, although he looked really good in his boss getup, anytime he was camera facing for real, he had his glasses off. But we did get a side shot of him with his glasses on as he was traversing to where he needed to be for red carpet, I think. And I wanted a frontal shot of him and his glasses so much in that trench coat, like just slung over his shoulders. Like, just keep your glasses on, man. Some women find glasses sexy.
Let the record state the entire world would like full frontals of you, Luke Newton.
Yes. And there are girls out there who are nerdy for a man in glasses. Just saying. Like, I love you in your glasses. Luke Thompson in glasses. Johnny Bailey in glasses. Like,
slutty little glasses.
Slutty glasses. What else is going on out in the world? We know that there's already been casting going on for season 5.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still speculation about who season 5 is going to be about. We'll discuss that when we talk about our season 4 overviews.
This is not verified information, but there has been stirrings that there is casting calls for twins in the area for Bridgerton, which we know exactly what that means. Whether that means that they are going to come to the ton because Marina died, and so they come to London for preps of some sort,
or it's her season altogether,
or whether it's her season altogether.
Yeah,
we don't know that. I love the interview with Florence Hunt, which plays Hyacinth, saying that this is the first season where she's finally realized the harsh realities of being an
adult actor.
Beforehand, they were only legally allowed to have her on set for 8 hours per day. And now she's like, now I'm having to do much more, and it's a lot more grueling.
Yeah, they can have me whenever they want me, is what she said.
And Yaren's response to that was hilarious, because Yaren's like, I love being a maid. I turn up, I get my 5 minutes of makeup and hair done, and I'm good to go. But the queen has to get there at 4:30 in the morning for this whole get up. And it's a whole thing. But her wigs have been incredible this season. But I digress. That's not news. That's just me gossiping.
And you brought up the Hyacinth interview, and there was another interview type thing out there that I wanted to up.
I have absolutely loved
the coop.
This isn't news, but it's just chit chats. I absolutely love Yaren Ha, and is it Michelle or is it
Oh,
Posey.
she's been doing
The
TikToks with both
TikToks?
of them. Yeah, with it's what's her name in real
There's
life?
one's Michelle.
Isabella
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 Way.
Way and Michelle
Them.
Yao.
I think it's Isabella because
But I saw
Isabella's
one
Posey.
today. I saw
Sorry,
one today
Michelle.
that was Yirin, Claudia, and Florent,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing this like dance thing to a song and completely messing it up, but it was adorable. So she's getting into the TikToks and the shorts and the reels, whatever platform, with
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the cast, which was so cute. And that's, I mean, that is one thing I wanted to talk. Why didn't I write this down? Because it's going to really bother me that I forgot.
We've got a whole nother
There
episode you
was,
can share it in.
yeah, there was something out in the world. So I was getting ready to say there was something out and you brought up. I mean, I did want to talk about the interview with Florence Hunt. And I do think we're going to get Florence first before Gregory because the focus is on her getting ready to debut. And she's been in a lot more interviews and cast promo and stuff than Will Tilston has been.
There was another interview, not an interview. So Footman John, who is Ollie Higginson, he was responding to a comment being like, Footman John is main character energy or something like that. And he's like, yeah, I really appreciate that so much. But then made a comment that Footman John needs more work. And what I think he was actually saying is it would be lovely if more people hired me, Ollie, for more acting jobs because I need to, pay my bills and whatnot. So I'm like, please, please, please do not hire him as a main character and then we lose Footman John.
Well, I mean, hire him, but make sure he can still have open availability
Make
for.
his commitments. Please give him all the accolades he deserves, but like share him with us,
Oh,
please.
I remembered. I remembered. So there's speculation out in the world that it is definitely Eloise's season next because this week that Bridgerton came out, there were two events. Claudia was doing some promo event, and
Sir Philip and Adjoa.
The guy who played Sir Philip was supposed to do that. Remember, we
Chris
brought this up
Fulton.
before. Chris Fulton, thank you. That we brought this up before, that we were pretty sure she was season 5 because he was part of a cast of this event in England that was, it wasn't just Bridgerton, it was like Regency era or those type of shows, like period drama shows. So there was Downton Abbey actors involved, Bridgerton actors involved, and then some other shows that have been out. I think maybe some people from Gilded Age even, but Chris Fulton had to back out for an emergency thing, like couldn't get out of it type of thing. And Claudia, same thing. In the same week, they both had to back out of their event at the last minute for some last minute, like something came up and we have to do this other thing. So their schedule now does not permit them to do this thing that's been on the books for months now. We've known about Chris Fulton doing this thing since last November. So, and if they are definitely starting to film in March, then maybe they had to do something, chemistry testing with people or costume fittings gone wrong, like who knows, something. Trying to think of what would be big enough to have them have to back out of publicized name on marketing events. You know what I mean?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Had a whole bunch of Bridgerton admin stuff pop up. I was like, what have I done now?
Yeah, so if you are on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, look at your reels. These people are putting in the hard yards. There's not a lot of Shondaland Netflix promo like we were used to with season 3.
I
but
think that
the actors are doing their due diligence with social media. Yirin Ha is going social media cray and doing it in such a good way. Like, I mean, Nicola is a social media queen, and her and Luke did a lot of like tagging stuff because I really do think their marketing promo thing was a will they or won't they. I think we were being manipulated to heighten the drama of that season.
I don't know because like they're still like they're not the leads anymore and they're still the same.
Right. And I think that part of that is their friendship and whatnot. But Yirin isn't even playing on any kind of chemistry she has with Luke. She is straight up playing game and doing TikToks and doing these little dances with the people who play her sisters on the show. Like her Gunn sisters, the Lee sisters, and her new Bridgerton sister. So she's creating a sisterhood type of vibe in all of her social media, which I love.
Although I do actually see the most interviews and the most stuff with Hannah Dobb. Those two seem like they are the Nicola and Claudia of it all.
Yeah. And I think that with what we know from season 4, I think they're going to become
good friends
close because of losing a loved one the way that they did. You know. Okay.
Yes.
So that's all I can think of for now. So Bridgerton news over and out.
Now let's make haste into today's episode. That wasn't very hasty. Now let's make haste into today's episode. I am so excited to actually get to talk something happy before we get into the melancholy. I mean, not that
actually,
this is necessarily...
I'm excited to talk about everything today. Yeah, I think that we're not it's not exactly a happy part, but when you think of conflict in TV shows or conflict in your own life, this is the turning point. This is the turning point where, honestly, looking at it now that we know how it ends, this is the turning point where we know everything's going to work out.
To be honest, you can't get to the happy parts without going through the hard yards. And we say this all the time, like it takes time to learn how to not fight, but like have big moments happen in your life and how to get through them. And that's what they do in this. They're not
have conflict and work through it. Yeah.
I mean, there's some interesting choices of words used, yes, but at least they were cruel, but they weren't mean. They were mean spirited, but you know what I mean. Like they were
not mean spirited. I now am on a totally different hill on that count. It's not mean spirited. That was not the intent, and he was upset that he hurt her feelings.
Before we get there, okay. Just jump into the end. Okay, Lady D. I'm actually so excited to have these scenes with Violet and Lady Danbury. Actually, the not this scene, but the next scene with them too is actually one of my favorite scenes in all of it, where they kind of acknowledge her relationship with her dad. But this one,
but they couldn't get there without this one because
that's what I say. This feels like not the foreplay. That's the wrong word. Tosh.
No, this is the actual turning point of their relationship. Because up until this point in time, they have just been co-conspirators in the ton. They worked together to get Daphne and Simon together. They had to work together in season 2 because she was sponsoring Kate and Edwina, who Anthony took a liking to both at one point each. You know, so they've been thrust together as co-meddlers up until season 3. She calls on Lady Danbury to help her with Francesca. So towards the end of season 3, we actually see them acknowledge this is more than just helping get my kids married off, right? This is more than just us managing maneuvering the ton.
Two ladies relying on each other as equals. And what I was trying to say is that Lady Danbury has had an entire lifetime of feeling on her own. In Queen Charlotte, she had Coral, but that wasn't exactly a balanced match either, because obviously, like we see with Varley and Portia, you can be fired at any time. You make one misstep and you're out. And not that I think that Lady Danbury would ever do that, but I do wonder where Coral is. I don't know whether she died. I don't know whether she was getting too old for service. I'm not entirely sure where she is, but that was Lady Danbury's confidant as such.
Yes.
But it was never balanced because it was always one-sided. And then she's got the Queen, who she is the Queen's confidant, but we've never ever once seen her, even when discussing Lord Marcus. It was, something I don't like has come this way, but she shares no details about it. Would you like me to help your queen, solve the problem for you? No, I'll sort it out on my own. She says something is upsetting her, but she will never confide in the queen what it is, because that's not the queen's job. The queen has an entire country to run. She is not going to put her personal problems on it. And although Lady Danbury and and Violet don't necessarily go into details about Lord Anderson or anything, they do lean on each other and give each other advice without explicitly saying it, because both of them are very private. And this is in a time period where lady whistledown is a thing and your secrets get out and it can ruin you. So everyone is quite guarded, but they say enough to be able to understand each other's perspective, to know that I don't need to know all the details. I'm just here to support you, which is a beautiful thing in friendship.
Yes. But I think this is the most open that they've been with each other. I think they let their guards down here, right? They unmask themselves with each other, where, Violet can admit, like, you've helped me with every single one of my kids getting married, but that's not why I'm friends with you. I care for you and will be there for you even when they're all married off. Like, I have come to care for you as a friend. And Lady Danbury, knowing she likes his brother, because she said, a wonderful quality you and your brother both possess.
Share. Yeah.
So she's admitting she's spending time with him, right? Even outside of that, when she's kind of grumpy and obviously got something going on. Violet's trying to get her to open up to her, and she doesn't at first. And in the scene, she doesn't really open up about what's got her goat. But Violet's like, look, I'm here for you. Like, and I will be. Like, you don't have to aid me for me to be your friend.
Your support is not
And
contingent. My love for you is not contingent on your support for me.
right. And Lady Danbury was like so moved and like that really means something to me because she's not really had that in her whole life.
Well, you know what? So everyone's always talking about the parallels between it always comes in threes. Like ever all these little groupings are always in threes. We've got ABC, we've got Penelope, Colin, Eloise, you know, then you've got the Penelope, Cressida, Eloise of it all, which I think might actually be coming in next. It would be interesting to see how that's going to play out. But we have all these little triangles of friendship. Now, the Queen and Lady Danbury solidified their friendship when Lady Danbury needed something and she didn't use the Queen to, I mean, she did use the Queen to get it because she was pretending to give information to Augusta, but she still did it in a way that didn't compromise Charlotte in the slightest. And I think that was the moment that Charlotte came, not that she knew about the side, you know, thing that she had going with Augusta, but it was what made, I think, Charlotte trust Lady Danbury was that she wasn't just there to use her like the rest of the ton was, which, I mean, in all fairness to the ton, that's what she's there for. But she felt like someone was there for her, Charlotte, not her, the Queen. And
well, and that's not what the Queen is there for necessarily. The Queen is, you know, it's a monarchy. The Parliament still makes and sets the laws. She's really a figurehead.
Yes, but there's so many expectations on the Queen, and that people would typically use her to do that, you know, to help in any way. So,
and that's the thing, like the Ton doesn't view her as a human being underneath it all, and she saw Lady Danbury did.
Yes. And that's kind of where I was going with this is Lady Danbury is always seen as this fearsome creature, especially in the books. Like if Lady Danbury is coming, like everyone is running. They are afraid of that cane. Whereas this is the first person, like, and people not use her, but like they want her influence, they want her power, they want her backing, you know, for whatever reason. And then she's got Violet, who is just, I see you, Agatha, not Lady Danbury, not friend of the Queen. You know, she's not saying, hey, well, I know you're friends with the Queen, so you can help me in this. She's saying, I would love your help, but if not, no worries.
Well, the thing is she didn't even ask for her help. She asked for advice on if this is the right timing. Like, do you think I'd be able to get an audience with the Queen? That's not saying, can you help, right?
Yes.
But because everybody comes to Danbury with crap for the Queen because she is, you know, the link most people have to the Queen. Yeah, and I have that in my notes that the spark was lit, or the spark that lit the flame of her retirement from society is when she says, you know, the weight of the world cannot always be on our shoulders.
Yes.
Right? Like she's just done with feeling like she's feeling like she's only popular because she is Queen adjacent. And Violet recognizes this. Like, I mean, Violet could have been like, look, I wasn't asking for your help. I was just asking, you know, because you know the Queen, do you think this is a good time? Like, that's two totally different things. But she doesn't get defensive at all. And she said, hey, you need to know that I like you, period. I like you. I don't care that you're friends with the Queen. I don't care how you can help me. Even when all my kids are married off and I don't need to care about what the Queen thinks at all, you and I will still be friends. And Lady Danbury needed to know that because even the Queen uses Lady Danbury to gossip about what she sees out in society because she's trapped in the palace. Like Lady D gets used by everyone in her life and she finally has a real friend at her age.
Yes. And my part for the, you know, we are always trying with all of our might, but the weight of the world cannot be on our shoulders. And I think that Lady Danbury is also saying that she is struggling to bear the burden of being the Queen's only confidant at the cost of not being able to live her life the way that she desires yet again. Like everyone is always, oh, well, you're the Queen's right hand man, you've got to deal with her. You know, even Brimsley put that kind of pressure on her, not realizing that the Queen's not the only one with the weight of the world on her shoulder.
Yeah. Anybody, because that, like Brimsley said in season 4, her world is getting smaller. Because the Queen's world is getting smaller, she's keeping her circle tighter. That is, they're very much like caregivers to her in how they treat her, right? Like
they manage her.
Like she has a very fragile emotional state because she's on the verge of, my husband, the love of my life, could die any day. And when he's not dying, but he's ill. Like she's in that state of flux, like because they're not in the same place. They have to be separated for safety reasons for the queen, right? And the king. That puts extra pressure on her too. And they're like her handlers in a way, like her caregivers, in that they are keeping her in an even emotional state. Because we saw what happens when she's desponding.
Talking of emotional states.
We're not moving on yet. If you're trying to move on, I have one more to say.
No. I'm actually going back to this. You skipped the first whole half. So
okay, because I skipped something from the first half that I want to, or the first part of this scene that I want to talk
Lady
about.
Danbury is saying that the Bridgertons were very lucky that Lady Whistledown returned to save their reputation. And
that's what I wanted to say.
I'm like, you are very well aware of who Lady Whistledown is. And are you trying to ever so subtly hint to
smooth over, like she's smoothing over future
paving
animosity.
paving the way for Penelope? Because I think she suspects that it's Penelope, but she knows it's at least either like the likes of Eloise or Penelope, more likely
somebody
than not.
Bridgerton adjacent.
I mean, to be honest, it's not going to be Eloise with what came out and the way that Penelope and Eloise fought afterwards. Lady Danbury is a smart cookie. She's put it all together. We saw the way that she was looking over at Penelope at those balls.
I think by this point, she tells Penelope she suspected in the same way that I told you guys I suspected that my family was planning a surprise party for me. I was pretty sure. Like I was pretty darn sure.
But you leave the 10%
but I was so afraid of being wrong that I was saying I suspected. I think Danbury knew, but she doesn't want to be wrong. So she says I suspected. But I think she knows here because in the scenes with the two Whistledowns, where the two Whistledowns come out, you can see the look on her face when she reads that certain line and she looks up, she has her cigarette and she's like interesting, like she's contemplating this line, like that totally seals the deal for her. And now in this scene, she's like trying to create a moment with Violet where she sees Violet's kind of dissociating, right? And she tries to bring her out of it. Like, you're so lucky that Lady Whistledown published when she did. Like, she wants to be able to call back to this moment to remind her that this person ultimately wants to protect your family, not hurt your family.
And I also found it really funny that like everyone never speaks quite straight except for Danbury. And I love the fact that she called her that cowperd chit.
Yes. In fact, I meant to do that before now. I wanted to see if chit was like short for something.
I love that. Like our notes are so on par.
Yes, we've been doing this a while.
But I also love that Violet also picked up that something was wrong with Lady Danbury. Like the fact that Lady Danbury didn't even have to say anything. Like when she's bringing up Marcus and you guys have the same, care in that, and she could pick up that something was wrong. And the whole point about the weight of the world on our shoulders. Violet picked up the Excuse me, are you hosting today?
No, it's nice outside and people are walking their dogs.
How dare they walk by my house?
So interestingly enough, a chit is a handwritten receipt. Somebody rendered a service done.
I love that when Lady Danbury is talking about the world being on her shoulders, that Violet picked up the fact that she wasn't just discussing the weight of the world being on Violet's shoulders with having so many children and the expectations that the town holds them to. She picked up that there was something wrong with Lady Danbury and that she was feeling pressure herself. Something that like Lady Danbury has been making blatantly obvious to the Queen for quite some time now, and the Queen has just failed to acknowledge it. And I do understand that she has so much on her own shoulders, but it is unkind that she has seen her friend struggling and she just chose not to acknowledge it. Like, yes, we all have our own things. And I know it took her a really long time to get to where she is in fourth season. So we're not going to discuss fourth season. But I'm really glad that Lady Danbury has someone like Violet who sees her and sees her struggle and sees her as a human being and treats her as such. And the fact that, Violet does say that she cares for Lady Danbury with or without her help and that she is always there for her, which I thought was gorgeous because I think that was also a moment where it kind of resonated with the whole Lord Ledger of like we can't be together, but like we're always going to hold this memory really dear to us. And I think it was one of those moments where she saw Lord Ledger in his daughter, like that kindness and that empathy that she saw in the man that she loved is like right there in front of her. And like he may be gone, but he's not because he is inviolate.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like,
So I have the chit figured out now.
okay, yes.
So a chit in British vernacular is an informal IOU, usually handwritten. So like if you have a handwritten ticket at the end of eating in a cafe or something, you know, not a formal, you don't have to take it seriously because it's not printed. It's not a formal receipt or a formal check. It's just handwritten out. So it's basically something that's not finished that you don't have to take seriously. So translating that to being a chit in a female is usually considered a young woman being immature, insignificant, or, you know, lacking respect.
Or
They're being a brat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're being a brat. You don't have to take them seriously because they're showing their immaturity. They're acting above their station. They're
I love this. It implies you were acting uppity or saucy despite you being insignificant or inexperienced.
right. But
That
it's
is
basically
good.
like stemming from the whole informal IOU. You don't have to take it seriously because it's not finished yet.
Yeah.
Like she's still just a girl. And that's probably why they don't consider her a
I'm
spinster.
just a girl. Okay, speaking of an IOU, there are suddenly conversations that have been owing for a long time. Let's talk
Okay. So
Coloise. Cauliflower.
Coloise sounds like a disease.
Coloise sounds like cauliflower to me. Like, I don't know why. Like it sounds like a cauliflower flower.
Yeah. It sounds like colic and wheezing mixed
Eloisean.
together.
Eloisean, because we all know Eloise has to be first.
Yeah. And that fits in with Penelope. So
yeah,
that's Eloise. So I just want to say
there's some wheezing going on here.
First of all,
How long have you known?
Colin was lying in wait for her. Like he comes out, he comes out of what we know to be a study.
You know what this reminded me of?
Staircase.
You know what this reminded me of? This reminds me of all those times where a mother is like sitting under the lamp and like you walk in the front door trying to be a
turns the lamp on
and the lamp light comes on. Where have you been? Bed's empty. No notes. I will never not quote that line, okay?
Right.
But Colin's the mum in the scenario.
Like, and you know, turning the lamp on, like, I hope you enjoyed your freedom because it's over now.
It's over.
Yeah. So he was definitely lying in wait for her. But I want to point out here, this scene and the next scene, as we enter the scene, the camera angle is at the perfect angle, almost as if you are a servant walking into the room yourself and come upon what's going on. So think of, we're coming up the side from the behind the staircase side, you know, the left side of the staircase, if you're facing out, like you're on the staircase, we're coming up into the room as we see Eloise walk in. So imagine like, you know, a maid is just coming into this area to maybe stoke the fire or whatever. But she comes in to walk past, Eloise walks past to go up the stairs, and Colin comes out the opposite side of the staircase. So this is like a servant, and neither one of them noticed the servant, which I think feeds into season 4 too. But I feel like that camera panning into the shot the way it did almost felt like you were one of the servants walking into the room and coming upon this argument that is going to take place. Like it's a normal work day for you, you know? Mm-hmm. And the next scene also has a similar pan shot in where it's like you are a member of the household servant because nobody acknowledges your existence at all. And they just are going about their lives. But I found that interesting considering we admitted like the editing and the camera angles and stuff were so great this season and how they depicted the upstairs downstairs that I wonder if they were
in this season, she means season 4.
Yeah, this current season. I just wonder if they were practicing with some of these scenes. Like we want it to look like a servant who's nobody acknowledges is walking into the and witnessing their lives because that's what servants did. Nobody acknowledged the servants in the room and they witnessed the lives of everyone. You know what I mean?
Funny that because it's going to play into my 4. I love that Colin is like, you know what? I'm so sick of the way that my mum just beats around the bush with anything. I'm not small talking. We ain't, as we say in Australia, we ain't here to F spiders, okay? How long have you
That's why
known?
that's why it's a come to Jesus. Like there's no talking around the elephant in the room. He goes right for
Goes right for the throat, the jugular.
yeah.
I mean, she doesn't even try to deny it, but throws Penelope under the bus by saying, I've been trying to make her tell you. And it's like, excuse me, little miss, is your nose growing?
Yeah, she's still not taking
Because
accountability.
you had just told Penelope to never tell him and quit Whistledown. And I mean, granted, later on in this conversation, she does acknowledge that. But at start, she does her typical Eloise thing and goes straight into defense of, I'll throw anyone else under the bus and I will make everyone else take accountability except for myself.
I agree with you, but I also think it's the tone that he uses. Because if we remember back to the first half of season 3,
he's angry.
like, like when he walks in on Penelope reading the journal, he's like, are you reading my journal? And she's like, I did not mean to, right? Like she gets defensive because of his tone. And then when he calls out Eloise as they're chasing Penn outside from the full moon ball, he's like, did you tell Cressida of my helping Penelope? And she's like,
she looks scared.
I did not mean to. Right. Like
when Colin's angry.
The whole thing is when Colin gets angry, it's bad news bears. And I think we see that in never Eloise's,
Like when I see Steven angry, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go into my little corner over here because like it's so rare for it to happen.
You gotta wait for that fire to die down.
You're like, you know what? And to be fair, it's not usually ever aimed at. I mean, I don't think it's ever been aimed at me. Like, short of like I'm in a hyperactive, annoying mode, and he's like, "Can you just not?" But like,
or it's Bridgerton season.
He's like, I need some attention over here, please, man.
Yeah, we learned some things through our first Bridgerton season that we will adapt and take under our wing. We got great feedback for how podcasting goes during the season that we can build upon for next time.
Well, I think it was just so much change for me all at once. Like I took on doing the adminning for the main Bridgerton page, which is a whole bunch of adminning. We had, we were repping the new season, the new Bridgerton official podcast. We were doing season
trying
3
to still keep up season 3. Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna hear this in next week's. No, you're gonna hear this in the episode we're gonna record next, but it will air first. That we're going to alternate from now on, because it's too much for me to do watch parties, 2 episodes per week, notes for 2 episodes per week, editing,
and we had
for 2
our live reactions and our impressions. Like I'm struggling with editing because there's so much for YouTube. Yeah.
And I have big life and I have big family and I have big friends and everything is big and I just want to curl into a little ball and sleep for 3 lifetimes. So I love what we do and I want to continue loving what we do. So I need to do it in a way that's manageable for me so that I don't get burnt out and not enjoy it.
Yeah.
So we're going to
got burnt. I don't think we don't enjoy it. I don't think we got to that point, but I do think
we didn't.
By the end, by the time the second half aired, we were burnt out. Like, yeah. Because I was even considering that night, like, do we have to watch right when it drops? Like, could we wait? It's like, could we wait until the next day?
Especially when my child just decides on those, never going to sleep ever again.
Yeah, because that put us, and with the episodes being longer, that put us back. Like, I went to bed at 8 a.m. and I had to be up to get ready. I work from home, so that's nice, but I still had to be up to get ready for my job and to be on my job by noon. I had to get up at 11:30. So I got 3.5 hours of sleep.
We went to bed at 3. And then it takes me time to go to sleep. And then I have to be up at 7:30 to get the kids ready for school. So I had
same thing on your end. I mean,
but like not an ideal amount when you've got to keep kids alive and feed and show around countries. And but Di and I had the best time ever. We went to the hot pool. Well, we went and had a walk around the botanical gardens for a couple of hours. And then we went to the New Brighton hot pools so that we could just sit there and gossip while sitting in hot pools for a couple of hours.
Di, you got my hot pool. I'm really jealous now.
Hot pools. It was really good, actually. I walked poor Di's feet off. She's never gonna come back.
It will come back if I come there.
She will. She absolutely will.
She knows you're not going to do too much with my old body.
We went on one walk and I was like, I would not put Patty through this. It's too many steps and they are tricky steps of like old kind of pave cobblestone-y. And I was like, this is a full hazard.
Yeah. I mean, I can usually determine what I can handle and what I can't. Like, I was surprised
Oh,
yesterday.
it's roots and uphill.
Yeah, roots I'm not cool with. Well, not since the accident. Like, my leg is not healed enough for that kind of stuff.
And
Who
if you
knows what
trip,
it'll be
and if
like
you trip,
by season 5.
you fall off a cliff, so it's not ideal.
No, no, we don't need that. American dies in New Zealand because she's
Push,
clumsy.
push Patty off a cliff so that she could take over as new co-host.
Don't do that, Die.
All right. That was a tangent. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna slide back into this with a line that tells me, like, we always talk about how Colin is so close on their heels, like Penelope's heels when she goes into the dining room at the engagement party. And then even now, like, he was so close on their heels, he would have seen them go into the room, but he tells Eloise, I saw you coming out of a private room.
Yeah.
Which, as soon as the door closed, Colin sees it as a private room and he does not enter. He does not knock. If you wanted him in there, you would have waved him in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is such a king of consent that he knows they're in there and he doesn't even listen at the door.
You know what I think it is also? Is that it's kind of that story from the books of Penelope and Colin kind of vying for Eloise and Colin kind of vying for Penelope's attention. And he is like, Eloise is always going to come first. She's gone to Eloise for assistance, not me. And I think there's a little bit of jealousy in that.
So here are my notes. I wrote, this conversation is a different version of the fight over pen in the book. In the book, it is who gets priority, the BFF or the husband. And this fight is where should loyalty lie, with Penn or each other. They had both chosen Penelope up to this point, and their own secrets over each other.
Yeah.
So it's still a fight over Penn, but it's do we really give up on our own bond as siblings to prioritize Penelope, her secrets, and our secrets with her kind of thing. And so it's funny that we both had that same thought. But this ties into talking about their secrets. This ties into, I really want to talk about the cinematography of this scene and what it tells us that the words aren't telling us, because storytelling is not just in the words that come out of somebody's mouth. It's in costuming. It's in, because I think it's important to note that Colin is in an outfit very similar to the outfit he wore when Penelope came to the house for the drawing room lesson. Like, he's in his feels, he's remembering the romance of his version of courting, right? Because he's wondering, like, can I continue this? But the way the camera angles are, he's fully open in the shot with no obstructions. So his feelings in true Pisces form, because Julia Quinn says that Colin is a Pisces, so I don't listen to any of these other things that say Colin is nothing but a Pisces. In true Pisces fashion, a March Pisces at that, his feels are right on his sleeve. They're external. He gets them out. You see exactly what's wrong with him. When he's angry, he doesn't hide a bit of it. And he is upset here. He's completely open. But whenever they are shooting Eloise and her responses, we are seeing her through the rungs of the staircase. So she's still guarded. She's still keeping things from him. She's hiding. I mean, she's not hiding, but the camera angle is giving her, she's hiding behind this. But it's also like she's caged, because there's things she does not have the freedom to tell him, because she knows what would happen to Theo if she told a brother about her relationship with Theo. So she can't tell Colin at all.
Well, in deleted scenes, she tells Benedict.
Yeah, but Benedict, I think of the three, would be the one who wouldn't immediately jump and go pummel this, because I think Anthony and Colin both would, because they would assume he took advantage, not her. That's just their natures, right? But Benedict has lived outside of the bounds of society for a little while, and I think he would understand it. He wouldn't like it, and he would chastise Eloise, which is why I think they cut it, because although he would be understanding, he would still chastise Eloise, kind of like how he chastised Violet a little bit. But yeah, so we see her be guarded up until the point, well, no, she's still guarded, where he's asking, like, have you already forgiven her? But through this whole part, he's completely open until towards the end. They start shooting him, like he's retreating into himself a little bit, because I think he feels the vibe that she's hiding something. So he's not going to give full on himself anymore either.
And I do feel like Eloise kind of hides behind instead of acknowledging that she did something wrong by hiding Whistledown. Because keep in mind, she did wrong by Colin first because she knew about Whistledown for an entire year at this point and did not tell him. And so not that we're playing tit for tat or anything, but logistically, she did wrong by Colin first in his eyes because, he wants to know how long have you known? And I feel like this is kind of getting to the root of the trust issues between them is that, Colin courting Penelope without Eloise's knowledge and Eloise later Whistledown a secret from him. And funny that Eloise says, before you trip, like, I should have known about you courting my friend before you tripped into the drawing room engaged, when that wording made me laugh because in the books, Penelope literally falls on her face.
Out of the carriage, yeah.
Out of the carriage. So I felt like that was kind of a callback to that scene from the book that they didn't include, which I really wish they did.
Yes, but I also think that with Eloise saying it, that she's not taking their engagement seriously, like, because this is Colin, right? And Colin is the kid that he can bung things up, but they still turn out in the end. Like I mean, I know Show Colin was like that up until season 3, and now he's kind of like that again. He lives a charmed life, but Benedict kind of got book Colin's personality. But like Julia Quinn always said, he could, drop his toast on the floor and it would land butter side up. Like nothing wrong comes out of the mistakes that Colin makes. So he can trip and end up engaged. Like, I think she's not taking their relationship seriously. She thinks that Colin is going too fast and, at least too fast for her.
I think it just proves how little she pays it to those around her because it was there the whole time and she just didn't see it. And I feel like she is feeling embarrassed that she didn't see it for so long.
Yeah, because she does acknowledge by the end of this conversation when she says, "Do you think you can?" And when she said she doesn't want him to be brokenhearted as well, he thinks she's talking about she was brokenhearted because of Penelope's betrayal, but she's brokenhearted over Theo. And she's trying to empathize with him. Like, I don't want you to be brokenhearted either.
I feel
so
like
she's acknowledging his love for Penelope is real. Well, he doesn't know about Theo. And I think that plays into his line of, be uncommonly lucky that you've never been in love, and how hurt she appears. Yeah. Because she felt like she had confided in him, right? Her wording, she thought he would understand what she meant, but he didn't.
I think it was her way of sharing her feelings without telling him the truth.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first time that we actually see from Eloise's perspective how she felt about the Whistledown thing. Not her anger, not her gut reaction, but just how hurt she was by Penelope. And I think that this is actually a very true reaction that maybe Penelope needed to hear as well. That it wasn't something that just, like with Colin, it wasn't that she was Lady Whistledown. It was the secret that she kept from them all. The fact that she didn't let them in, she didn't trust them enough. And for very good reason. Like, if they had been seen to be accomplices in the Queen's eyes, they could have also been equally punished. So I do understand it to some degree, but I think that Penelope needed to hear just how much it hurt her friend that she didn't fight in her. Because I think that's what it was. A lot of the hurt was the fact that... I think
for Eloise, it was the hurt. I think it was the hurt that she didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's things going on even in season 4 where she's literally at this point getting mad at herself that she's not seeing something that's right in front of her. Right. Yeah. As far as Colin goes, I think because he already feels like Penelope's out of his league, right? I think his biggest hurt really stems from what she said about him at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
Because he already feels like, I don't deserve this girl. And look at what she truly thinks about me, that she can say it behind her, in her persona person. This must be what she really feels, and what she tells me are lies. Because like we talked about in the last episode where he says all the lies that you have told me, she hasn't technically lied to him ever. She's just omitted that she's Whistledown. But he now sees her telling him she's always loved him is a lie because of the way she spoke about him at the beginning of the season. Because I think what Colin needed to learn this season, and he does, is that 2 things can be true. And it didn't occur to him that 2 things can be true until he was angry with her and still wanted to marry because he loved, so I can be mad as hell at somebody, but still love them so much. I want them to be my life partner. Really? That's possible? So she could have been upset at how I was acting, but still love me. Okay.
Yes. So this is when Eloise then does admit to him that she did, in fact, pretty much tell Penelope not to tell him, but instead give up being Lady Whistledown, because at least if she's going to lie to him, at least she doesn't have to continue the lie. She just doesn't have to continue, like, she just is a lie from past a mission. And I love how, like, that tack kind of just doesn't work out. So she changes tack to like, well, Penn's writing has been much more fair this season. She does write scathingly sometimes, but only on those who deserve it. And he's like, oh, so I deserve it, do I?
You kind of did there, dude.
You absolutely did. And you can see on her face that she agreed with what Lady Whistledown wrote. Like, she said scathing only about those who deserve it. And she's like, well, you were acting like a bit of a chip.
Yeah, but she's like, yeah, that was not so good, because she completely forgot about that. Because at the time that it occurred, she agreed with it.
I feel like a real sibling. Like, if this was real life, a real sibling would have been like, take the truth, take the hit, because whoever dealt it smelt it. Like,
right, whoever smelt it dealt it. Yeah, well, I think that she completely forgot about those lines, because Penelope did soften over the season as she was being courted secretly by Colin and whatever, and then getting engaged, that she completely forgot about those first couple of first couple of issues. So I think him bringing that up, she's trying to get him to calm down. First of all, you can see her managing Colin's emotions. Like, I think this is why, when we go back to that conversation where she was like, how is his condition? Because I think when Colin gets really mad, it's not a good thing, right? And I think they took that from the book, because Colin in the book is very angry, but his one weakness is his anger in the book. Like, he needs some anger management. And I think that's how that played into this season, is everybody manages Colin so they don't get his full on anger. Does that make sense? Like, and we don't actually see him punish physically at all this season, but we see him punish with separation, the silent treatment a little bit, like, up until this point, he's been avoiding Penn, like not coming to see her, not being around her. And so he's given her the silent treatment as punishment for him being angry.
I don't think
you see Eloise managing him here.
I don't think it's an intentional, I'm punishing you so you feel consequences. I think it's I need time to process how I feel.
Yeah, I don't think it's I deserve to discipline you kind of thing. But I think he is so angry. I think he's so angry that he isolates himself until he can calm down, because he doesn't want people to see that side of him, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very few people have seen true angry Colin, I think.
And I think Eloise is one of them.
Eloise is definitely one of them.
Nobody can get under your skin quite like your siblings and parents.
I mean, just when she says, what is his condition? And Penelope says, he's furious. And Eloise is like, the look on her face is like, great. I've been there before. I can do this. She doesn't reassure Penn at all, but she knows she'll weather the storm.
Yes. Well, and I think she knows that, like, Penelope has managed Eloise's behaviors for so long that, like, yeah, it sucks, but, like, could be worse.
Right.
But that's
she's going, ooh, I'm going to get my best friend back soon.
Yeah. We can be spinsters forever because no one's going to touch her now.
Right.
Yes. But I do, you can tell this line here tells us that Colin is already on the path to forgiveness. The fact that he asks Eloise, have you forgiven her? And she replies that she wants to. You can see this like earnestness in his question of, if you have, how did you do it? How did you move forward from this? I need advice. I want to move forward from this. I just don't know how to. And you had a year to process this. I have a wedding in a week.
Well, and I think, like I said, he had to learn that two things could be true at the same time, and this is him learning it. I saw this more as, hey, sibling, who has just as bad of a temper as me and who holds a grudge just as bad as me.
10 times worse. Come on.
Are you ready to forgive her? And then she's like, I want to, which gives him some hope, right? But then she knows, him being the same, she's like, okay, sibling, who holds a grudge just as badly as I do, do you think you can forgive her?
I think he knows when he sees them conspiring together again, the fact that Penelope went to Eloise and Eloise wasn't just being dragged along by Penelope. They opted to go together. And why the
Right.
hell did Eloise not say, Penelope only wrote again to save our family? Penelope was ready to give it up for you. Like, I know that she said to Penelope, I'm not getting between you and Colin. I already feel in the middle enough as is. But I'm sorry, this was part of it. You put her in this position. Well, no, she put herself there, but you know what I'm saying. She also asked Penelope for her help in resolving this matter with her family before her family was ruined. She knows that she was also, 50-50 to blame for Cressida getting the power that she did, and she was also involved. So if
Mm-hmm.
you were willing to throw Penelope under the bus in order for her to save your family, why could you not have said the line? Penelope was ready to give it up for you. I convinced
Mm-hmm.
her she needed to help save our family, or something to
No,
the
I
likes of that.
allowed her.
I
I
allowed,
allowed
like,
her because she
I
like, or even
agreed.
say like,
I agreed.
Penelope took me in that room to ask my permission to publish again because at my advice she was giving it up for you.
Yes.
So
Like,
she said, if I publish, I can save the family, not your family, the family, because she knows she's marrying into this family.
mhm.
She did this to save the family. She is loyal to the family. Like,
Yes. Like when she was
this would have been
talking,
a good spot for that, except
because they were talking about she's been much more fair with her pen this year, and it's like, well, if you're going to bring that up, why not bring up the fact that many times she has written to save our family? She saved you from Marina, in fact. Like,
but again,
why
there's a
would this
lot
not?
of things that don't get said to perpetuate the drama a little bit longer so the show can be 8 episodes long.
But see, the thing is that the show should have included this, because they could have also included, I write to Marina. She has confided in me in what she went through and how she treated Penelope. If it
Mm-hmm.
weren't for Marina, you guys, and Marina and myself, you guys may have been like, there were so many ways, and they could have tied in that she was still writing with Marina. I feel like that actually would have tied into when it is Eloise's season, to kind of remind viewers that she does write with them, and why it would
Right.
make sense for the Crane storyline to take place in season 5.
Well, and her asking, like, do you think you can? I think is important because we see when Colin gets angry at someone, he pretty much cuts them off. I mean, he cut off the whole Lord Squad forever. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So there needed to be
INTJ
that,
vibes.
yeah, there needed to be that possibility. They wanted us to believe that he could call off this wedding and cut off Penn altogether because that's the drama that goes into the next scene. And his line, though, tells me, because I believe Colin's prime directive is to protect Penelope first and foremost because he loves her. And this line says that, like, just you need to realize you're uncommonly lucky to have never been in love, because to him at this point, love is just hurting. Like, even if we go with Patty Cannon and he's loved her since childhood, he just didn't feel like he'd ever get her. So he kept his feelings a secret. There's a hurting in wanting someone you can't have. And then he does get her only to find out he may lose her all over again, or now he's trapped in a situation where he's going to be mad at her for the rest of his life because he is somebody who cuts people off normally, but he's a man of his word too. So he has to marry her. And now, what kind of, like, going into this next scene, I think he's just as concerned with what their marriage is going to look like because
Yes.
he doesn't want to be angry at his wife for the rest of his life. And he's worried about himself because he's that dude. Like, he's mad at you. He's mad at you forever.
Sorry,
He's
I was just
probably the real reason Daphne's not back.
that's just poor writing. Poor writing. The fact,
There's
no,
a
I'm
lot of
not,
lazy
no,
writing.
I'm not gonna discuss later on.
We're gonna get
Um,
there. We'll get there.
we'll get there when we get there. My solar, maybe not. It's still- It's fine. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I ain't getting onto that roof in a hailstorm. Especially with the lightning and thunder we had last night. Like, I ain't climb onto a metal. I'm not out here trying to become the Flash. Okay, like, I know I've been walking a lot, but I don't need to walk that fast.
Right.
Do you know how many calories I've had to consume per day to walk that fast?
Oh, the Flash eats a lot.
Who does? I can't afford that bigger grocery bill. Have you seen the cost of groceries lately, Flash? Like, I ain't out here trying to do that, Barry. You do you. God, what comes out of my mouth is just bullshit. The Bridgertons and the Featheringtons. Okay, let's talk wedding prep now. I've got this in my notes later on, but I want to talk about it first. Let me find it in my notes. Okay, so the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons are touring Featherington House. I want to talk about Penelope's dress because this is actually my favorite dress of the season. Not because it's necessarily like I think some of the more gauzier light blue ones with the hair on the side, like that look on her was overall the best, in my opinion. But this
Mhm.
is my favorite dress. And
Mhm.
it's because if you, and I talked
It's
about
sad
this.
Soke Penelope dress.
Well, no, it's Mercury. Which is super ironic because it's the smallest planet. But this dress, if you go up and you look up like zoomed in images of Mercury, it looks exactly like this dress. And I talked about that very vaguely, like
Hmm.
probably a whole year ago when we were discussing different dresses. But now we're actually at the episode and it is Mercury. And which goes very funnily along with what I just said because its meaning is speed, come through Barry, communication and intelligence. And quite interesting because this is a scene where we see a huge amount of communication going on between Penelope and
They have
Colin.
a lot of growth
They have a
in this
lot of growth
episode.
in the scene.
Like this
And
scene.
yes. And we see that even though Colin is angry, that he is still going to marry her. I am a man of my word, and you might be like, I'm not going to go into that just yet, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I think even if it weren't for the fact
Prime
that he's,
directive, protect Penelope. There's two things he says specifically that even though he's angry because he loves her, he's doing things to protect her
yes.
ultimately.
And even though he says one thing, I do definitely think that he feels another way. I think that even if they had never slept together, I think he would still marry her because at the end of the day, he knows he is mad right now. And that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can know that you are mad in the moment and you deserve to be mad at the moment, but you know it's not a deal breaker.
Yes. And Penelope is struggling here because people get mad at her house.
She looks like a scared little kid.
There's usually revenge in her house when somebody gets mad at you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So there's retaliation. And so she's seeing Colin be this way. She's expecting retaliation. And I think that's why she treats him sleeping on the sofa the way she does later, right? Like, oh, this is just my life. He's just going to punish me for the rest of my life. So I'm just going to live with him just back in my childhood home.
Mhm.
Like it's her childhood
She
trauma
kind of
creeping up on
she
her.
puts her armor back on because like, well, you know what?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I know this vibe. I've lived it my whole life. I know how to survive it.
Yeah, so she doesn't understand because she's still like she's known Colin her whole life, but she didn't live with him in a home. Like she's seeing him angry probably for the first time for real, like real angry, because
Hmm.
he would have protected her from that up until this point.
She would have
And
seen him
so,
like pettily annoyed at his siblings and like not play
mhm.
fighting, but like petty fighting, not real fighting. He didn't
No, because
see.
he isolates when he gets super angry. She would have just been like, where's Colin? And the family would have said, oh, he has a headache, you know what I mean? Or oh, he's
Yes.
under the weather today, he's keeping to his room, as they would in those days say things like that. Like you don't admit somebody is sulking or whatever. You just, they would say they're keeping to their room today, they're under the weather, they don't feel good, whatever. So she would have never seen it before and she's witnessing it for the first time, and she's clearly afraid that he's going to punish her by ending the marriage. But I want to go back to her dress too, because I wrote two things about the dress.
Okay. Yeah.
One, if you look at all of the colors in the dress, they match every single other human being in this room, save Varley, but there is some green in there, but it's closer to the green that's in Portia's dress. The purple, the pink, the green, the blue, all of it plays in the costumes of everyone else. And I kind of take this dress because we know that the dress fabric choices reflect the emotional states of the characters in the moment. Penelope doesn't know if she's going to be like, we've seen a lot of social media. I can't remember the TikToker that did it, but they talked about all of the dresses of Penelope and what she was going through at the time she wore that particular dress. And she said for this one that Penelope was conflicted, sad, whatever. But I see it as she doesn't know her future. She doesn't know if she's going to be a Bridgerton or remain a Featherington. So in a way, her loyalties, where we saw her change to Bridgerton blues and wearing more Bridgerton blues, her loyalty is kind of scaled back, and she's an amalgamation of, but not in the way like her outfit was at the end of the season or even in season 4
I
where
think it
she
was
had
more
mixes of yellow and stuff.
she wasn't sure if Colin was actually going to marry her now,
Yeah,
and so
so
she was confused as to where she
like, who am I? Am I a
yes,
Featherington? Am I a Bridgerton? So her dress
what is my
reflects that.
future? Hmm.
Yeah, so her dress reflects that she's muddled about what her future is going to be. And then as we're coming into the scene, please consider the camera angle walking around the staircase to come in behind everybody walking into the room, much like the point of view of a servant in the home. This is the second scene that we really see that point of view. So just focus on what the camera angle looks like. It's kind of like you're not Varley, because Varley was already in the room as they're walking in, or Varley appears. So it could have been the point of view of Varley, possibly, but it's definitely a servant's point of view. What a servant would see if they were coming into the room to clean or to dust or to whatever.
Speaking of looking down on others, right? Can I just say, Miss Violet, you sassy little pant, because she just sassed Portia so hard by questioning Portia's choice of room for hosting, insinuating that it was too small. No wonder Portia has a complex where Violet is concerned, where like Violet isn't being outright rude. She's just looking, oh, well, how many people are you planning on inviting? Like as if like, oh, you don't have many people to invite.
Took that as the room's too big because of how crowded it ended up being, because Portia invited everyone. I think Violet expected it to be a small gathering. It's just a wedding breakfast. It's just for the family, right? Because none of her kids up to this point have had a huge wedding breakfast. So I took it as...
Well, no, Daphne and Simon did.
Not to the scale that the Featheringtons ended up having. For Penelope, like not that big. There was they even talk in that scene about it being shoulder to shoulder, and Lady Danbury got separated from Marcus and hasn't seen him since when they walked in. Like they're making fun of how crowded it is, how many people are there, because Portia invited everyone. I think Violet wasn't talking about how small the room was. I think she was like, this room? How many people are coming to this party?
I read it differently, and I think Portia did too, because if you look at her facial features, she's like, oh, well, like, it will be big enough. Let me show you how we will set it up so that it will be spacious enough. Like, she definitely read it as an insult of the room is not big enough. Like,
oh, I took it as it's still an insult.
Yeah.
Like, how many people do you think we're going to have at this thing? I think is still an insult. But it really is, to me, the line really was about having us remember that these two women are very much on different pages all the time. They have never bonded over anything. And their kids have been best friends for years.
Yes.
But they have never bonded. But we watched them in this scene.
Violet tries
to over their children. They bond over the worry.
Violet tries to avoid any interaction, like bare minimum.
Yeah, Violet is like, we will not be friends.
No.
And Portia is like, ooh, if I'm friends with the Bridgertons, everybody will like me.
But you do see that, like, they do have somewhat of an intuition with each other, because Colin doesn't even want to look at Penelope. And, like, you can see the mamas from across the room. But we will discuss Colin and Penelope first. Like, he won't look at Penelope. And she is like, Colin, like, just look at me. Like, and I feel like she was trying to say, look at me. Like, I am Penelope.
I think
like,
it's a shame.
Penelope, you know.
I think it's a shame that she feels shame. Like, oh my gosh, he won't even look at me. Like, she's so afraid he's going to break off the marriage. And like, oh, he won't even look at me. This is over. Like, she's going through that whole war in her mind because she didn't feel good enough for him either. That, oh, this is it. This did it. Because he said Lady Whistledown would never get married if people knew who she was. He's going to cut off the marriage. He's going to end it. And then she's ruined, right? Because people are going to wonder why a Bridgerton cut off a relationship with her. She'll be done. She'll be toast. And I really do think, like, for her though, it's about their friendship, even their relationship ending, and her not having him in her life. But there's still the reality that she would be ruined.
Do you think, had Colin ended the relationship, what do you think Eloise's stance on it would be?
I think Eloise would still be friends with. I think they would write letters.
I'm not sure on this one, actually, because she does have, like, a lot of loyalty to her family.
She does, but she already sees Penn as family. Like Colin said, this would have been your dream as a kid, that the two of you would become sisters. So I think eventually, because Eloise does want to forgive her, and think about, okay, so let's rewrite this. We already know from Cressida that Cressida wants to get the queen's money, and she wants to move, she says, to Europe and live on her own with that money, right? So let's say Penelope has the money, because she does, to go off and live somewhere. But she's a woman. She can't, unmarried woman at that. She really can't live on her own. So let's say she writes to Marina, who is family. Marina is desperate to repair that friendship, that relationship, because she knows she screwed up. So Marina says, hey, you can come and live here. And Sir Philip is fine with it because he knows his wife is sad and she wants a companion. I think that would play into their season coming, because Now, Eloise and Penelope are writing letters, and she would be there when Marina dies, and that Eloise would be sparked to write a condolence letter, and then they would secretly be writing letters, her and Sir Philip, because she feels like she knows them because she's been writing to Marina and Penelope the whole time. So it still plays into the trajectory of the Bridgerton storylines. I don't think Eloise would cut her off. I think she'd give the appearance of cutting her off, but I think she'd still write her letters.
Because I was going to say, she was mad at her brother for starting this, knowing that they were on the out.
Yes, but that also plays into her justification for continuing the friendship. Like, he didn't care about me. Mm-hmm. I'm Penelope's friend. Penelope and I are friends outside of their relationship. Just like right now, she's upset with, you should have told me you were in love with my best friend before you tripped into the drawing room engaged, is a chastisement. But she realizes through that whole conversation that his relationship with Penelope is different than her relationship with Penelope. They are two totally separate things. And that's how she justifies. Yeah, because okay. Eloise wants when it's Eloise, she's not going to do the same thing like she did 2 behaviors ago. If it's going to benefit her, she's going to do it. She's a little self-centered. So she can be mad at Colin for going behind her back, but she would definitely go behind his back.
We will put up a poll on the Facebook page when this drops. And if you're not on our Facebook page, leave a comment on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen. What are your thoughts? If Penelope and Colin were to have split up into the engagement, do you think that Eloise would have continued the friendship with her or not? I think both mamas, because I think both mamas know that something is wrong, and how they're like, oh, we'll continue the tour, and they kind of leave the young couple alone because they're like, well, they're still chaperoned, like they're still within our sight, but this way it gives them private time to discuss, because they both know something's going on with the two of them. Yeah. They both know their children well enough to know that something is up.
Well, and wording matters, so I'm gonna take a line from the script, even though we're not at that part yet, that fits into their walking away here. Varley comes up to them when they're talking about nonsense and says, I'm gonna see if our young people need a refreshment. For this rather long tour, giving Portia the side eye. And then they show the two mamas, and Violet's got her head down, smiling to herself, like kind of laughing to herself. And Portia does that, looks at her and goes, and laughs about it too, kind of a little small laugh, both realizing that Varley figured them out. I think the mamas planned this whole thing as a ruse to get the two kids together.
Well, because I put Varley interrupts, blocking their view of the view offering to fetch refreshments. It's like she knows something is up, but I don't know what. Like, I
think she was calling the mothers out, like, this rather long tour. Like, it's obvious you guys are just trying to help them hash their differences out. Like, everybody has realized they're fighting. Let's get them in the same room and see if they can't work it out. And we're just going to pretend we're still talking about this wedding breakfast. But Violet's kind of given up the ruse of talking about the wedding breakfast. Portia's still like the 4-string, 5-string quartet or whatever. And then she realizes Violet is not even paying attention anymore.
Let me find my notes on that, because now you're jumping. Portia's going on about the quartet or quintet. And I would have cackled if Violet had said just anything but the Smythe-Smith quartet. What a missed opportunity to bring up the book, like it would have been such a callback moment, and it would have been so funny that any of the book readers would have loved that reference.
Yeah, like, do you know of any good quartets we could bring in? And anyone but the Smythe-Smiths. Like, that would have been good. It would have been so iconic.
So let me scroll back up to find. So yeah, Penelope says, like, Colin, you will not even look at me. And Colin basically tells her that he's literally only there because Violet is suspicious. Why they aren't seeing each other? Like, he's saying, I'm doing my bare minimum. There's no princess treatment anymore, ma'am. It is bare minimum from here on out.
No, see, this is line number 1 that tells me that he loves her and everything's going to be good. Because he said, my mother was curious about us not seeing each other lately. So basically I came to this is reassuring Penelope. Like it's reassuring to Penelope though, like, cause he does still plan on going through with the marriage, and he doesn't want his mother to know that they're on the outs, not because being on the outs is a bad thing, but because if his mother is curious and his mother sees his behavior, what must Penn be thinking? So he showed up to reassure her he's still in this. That's how I took that. Like, I'm here, we're good. Like, we're not good yet, but we will be. So I don't want to give everybody the impression that it's over. I don't want to do that to you, because if that got out, that would hurt her reputation. And his prime directive is protect Penelope at all costs.
I kind of feel like it wasn't him protecting Penelope's reputation. It was he still intends on marrying her, but he doesn't want to manage Mama after the whole Marina situation. He doesn't want things to be managed for him. He wants to sort out his own feelings and work it out in a way and with the time that he deserves, because he had that entire right stripped away from him with Marina, where his mum interfered. And then, oh my God, now Daphne's here, and Daphne's younger than me, and she's telling me what I can and can't do. And she's offering to chaperone a moment that should be private between two people. Like,
oh, yeah. And
yes.
that's in my notes from the scene with Eloise. Eloise also manages Colin when she says, I decided, why break your heart as well? Like, she made a decision about his life. And I think this is a little bit of him taking charge of his life, but it's also like he doesn't want Penn to think of him like they are thinking of him. And Penelope's never tried to control him, never tried to manage him. And but
later Whistledown in the fact that she was in some part mocking his new facade that he was portraying.
Yeah, but I don't see that as she was trying to manage him. She even said, like, I just wanted the old Colin I knew back. Like, she was using it as a journal. She was getting her feelings out under the disguise of someone else. She could
things that she never felt like she could say truthfully.
Yes, because with everyone else in her life, if she spoke her mind, she usually got chastised for it or treated differently, even Eloise. So she hadn't learned that she could trust Colin with those parts of her yet.
Yes. So Penelope now asks if Colin is intending on calling off the wedding, and he replies,
and her frown, the sides of her mouth are like all the way down to her chin.
Grumpy cat. And he replies that he is a man of honor and we were intimate. Perhaps that was another part of your planned entrapment. Excuse me, sir. Do you have amnesia? Has it been hailing in your neck of the woods? Have you been racing horses and fell on your head instead of your butt this time? Because, excuse me, what? Mr. Fingerton? We ain't out here calling Penelope Mrs. Fingerton. Your butthole is still in one piece. It weren't her roaming fingers, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
I very much see this differently. So I got to take you back to season 2.
Take me on a journey.
I got to take you on a journey here, because we're going to analyze this sentence. First, the thing that struck me today first is reread it. Look at it, reread it. Do not emphasize planned entrapment. Emphasize 2 other words.
I still don't think that he knew Marina was pregnant. Not in the slightest. If that's
no, I don't think. No, not about Marina. Look at his sentence. Do not emphasize planned entrapment. Emphasize 2 other words.
I'm a man of honor.
Okay, not that since the next one. Perhaps
that was another part of your planned entrapment.
Another part. He was not considering the intimacy as part of the entrapment. He just now says, perhaps that's another part. We focus on the word entrapment and we remember Marina and we think, oh.
Do you think that he thinks that she was using Whistledown in order to corral him into being her mate as such? Mate in the romantasy book version.
What do we know because of...
I hate when you play these games. I don't want to do critical thinking.
Okay. What do we know because we used magnifiers that they did not put into the writing of the show?
About him writing about the women in his book, but a bunch of it.
The letter from Dundas.
Yeah.
So what if you were standing in a room where Colin announces to Jack that he's a fraud because he thinks it's just Jack. And who else was in the room? Portia and Penelope. And Portia certainly acted like she was not part of it. Like she acted surprised as well and sent them off and she would take care of it. But now he gets a letter from Dundas that Portia is being investigated for being part of this fraud. I think this falls under, like when he interviewed Jack at Will's club and he got all crappy with Will. And then at the end of the season, he's like, I had to do that because I had to gain his trust. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I was facetious. I think this line was delivered because he thinks that Penelope is in on the fraud because she's part of the family. And as Whistledown, she observes things. Even if she isn't part of the fraud, she knew it was going on. And that she... not through Whistledown, but just said she loved him and wanted to marry him and everything so that he would be a part of the family. Because think about how Portia's been acting, right? exactly the way he thinks this is going. They need me as part of their family so that I will be loyal to the family and I won't tell what I know to Dundas. That is another form of entrapment.
Well,
When he brings up intimacy though, he's like, maybe that was another part of your planned entrapment. He thought he was just being entrapped to save the family from ruin about it getting out about Dundas and the fraud. But now
being
he's
attached to
thinking,
Bridgerton's.
oh, so was our intimacy really real? Like he's already decided her saying she loved him is not real. Now he's questioning their intimacy of was it
He
really real on her
dragged
side?
that girl out of Featherington House as if he were a caveman and she was his prize, dragged her over to the new place, undressed the
First of all,
unsuspecting.
had the whole scene set up like Colin, who was planning entrapment, first of all.
Like
That whole scene.
you had set up the whole sexcapades. I had thought
Yeah.
we are soon to be married.
Right. I
What's
have
a
that
few
mirror
weeks?
perfectly placed
Like
by the settee so we can watch what's going
he
on as it's going on.
took her there, not at all for let me show you a tour of your new house. He was like, let me show you a tour of this new chase. Would you like to
Of
try it
this
out?
room. Yeah.
Let's see how
This
far we
mirror
can go
and the
before we break
settee.
it. Oh, not very far. Okay, maybe I have to get a stronger one. I just wanted to try it out before you committed to the Chase Lounge. We'll just make sure it can sustain us.
And that's the thing. I think Colin feels like he entrapped her because she's out of his league. But I think this line was delivered the way it was because he was trying to get a real reaction from her because he thought maybe Portia's using her for protection and using their feelings for each other or his feelings for Penelope as like he feels like he's being manipulated because everyone in his life manages his life for him, right?
Hmm.
So it's not a far stretch for him to think that they would play him for a fool to protect their own family from the consequences of Dundas finding out about the fraud. And Colin's the only one who knows because he kept that a secret.
Yes.
So he sees that in his mind, he's being entrapped. It's not triggering. It's not about Marina. It's not about pregnancy because all they talk about is intimacy, not
And and
pregnancy.
spoiler up for 5 seconds here. I can hate Donda. I need all the swear words. Season 4, hate him so much. It's all I say
I
on the
don't under.
matter, but I hate him to my very
Yes,
core.
I do not like Dundas at all. But the thing is though, is he is so much smarmier in season 3 to
Ugh.
Portia than like you can see how he feels about your station in the ton. Do you know
I
what
was
I
gonna say
mean?
because he knows the
Like,
Bridgertons can ruin him.
yeah, ew. But I think that Colin thought he was being entrapped so that the Featherington would because they would have to say, well, you can't tell Dundas that now. You're part of our family. You'll be ruined too, right?
Hmm.
But then he thinks in that moment when he brings up we were intimate, then he's like, oh, what if that wasn't real either? What if she's that good of an actress kind of thing? And so he says the line then, but the fact that he says another part is what took me down this thought process because this was not the entrapment he was envisioning. It's another part of it. It's separate. And her very real and sincere answer of Colin, I didn't mean to entrap you. I love you tells him all he needs to know at that point. The look on his face, his eyes shift, and he looks down and he feels completely chastised for hurting her feelings in that moment, for even suggesting entrapment, because he was just trying to find out possibly if she knew about Dundas. Because her reaction, if she did, would be very different,
Mm.
right? Don't you think? Like
Well,
if that was the plan, she would have acted very differently.
I think he's now questioning everything that he's ever known about Penelope because, like, here
Mm-hmm.
he is. Like, he's never truly seen Portia in full effect. Like, he knows he doesn't like Portia, but he's never seen Portia in full effect until he walked in and overheard what Portia was saying and how she was treating her daughter. And he's
Right.
like, you really are a vile human being. And my sweet
Mm-hmm.
old Penelope ain't nothing like you. Only to find out that she's Lady Whistledown. And he's thinking, maybe she is more like her mother than what I thought. And am I now
Right.
trapping myself with a woman who I don't even know, thinking she is one way, but actually she's a complete other? And now I've got this also knowledge about Dundas, and I thought that I knew exactly who Penelope was and that she would never be involved in such a scandal, but I clearly know
Mm-hmm.
nothing about this girl. I thought I knew her. How do you ever know anyone? I thought I knew Marina. I thought we knew each other's heart. Like, how
No,
could
they
I?
only knew each other's minds,
Oh, sorry, mine. Like, how could I get it?
not hearts.
How could I get it wrong so many times? And I think that he is now lost faith in his ability to actually read and understand people. And he's really struggling to marry the girl up with whom he knew to be, or he thought he knew to be, to Lady Whistledown. And not to mention, he thought he was never good enough for Penelope to start with. And now she's a ton-renowned writer, beloved by, well, not beloved, but infamous amongst the entirety of the ton for her writing. Not just
for it being withering
good
and biting.
Yes. Like, but it wasn't just that it was gossip. It was that it was well-written gossip. You know, I know that they say, oh, you know, she's so different because she actually names names, but it's not that keeps people coming back. It's the way that she writes it. She makes it so delectable. And so he's like, this is a real writer. So now not only did I think I wasn't good enough for this goddess of a woman, you know, my Venus statue, my Aphrodite, my Psyche, I wasn't good enough for this woman, for the woman I thought she is, but this woman in front of me, I'm definitely not good enough.
Yeah, I can see that. I also think, as you know, we talk about the
because we knew that jealousy was a huge part of his book.
Yeah, putting them up on a pedestal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Colin came off of his pedestal, I think, roughly in this. I mean, him coming home and being different and being weird kind of shook her up. Like, what is he doing? But I think from the Whistledown reveal and seeing him be so angry and then ignoring her, because to her it would look like he was ignoring her, right? Mm-hmm. That's why she says, could you just look at me? This is the moment where they're both real to each other for the first time. I mean, with the entrapment line, he pretty much kicks the pedestal out from underneath her, so she has to fall to the ground. Mm-hmm. And how she rises up in that moment is what solidifies for him that he's made the right choice to stay in the marriage. Like, with her, she's seeing literally the worst of him. And I think that is important because you have to know you can love somebody through the worst of themselves, because we're not perfect and we're not going to be at our best every day. And she is loving him through this moment. She knows he's angry. She knows he deserves to be. And she's not trying to say all those things that people who struggle with people's emotions say. Like, she's not going, oh, you had to have had some idea it was me, or you're not over this yet. Like, or, you know, famous in my house.
She didn't diminish
that happened a while ago. Yeah, that happened a while ago. Why aren't you over this yet? You know, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's like, have you done anything to make me get over it? No.
Right. Well, you didn't let me around you. How could I fix this if you won't even look at me? Right. Like, they could have had a very different fight. That sounds like a lot of homes in the world, because some people haven't learned to manage conflict. These two know on the other side of this that they want to still love each other and choose each other.
Yeah.
But they have to be able to see each other at their worst and love that part of themselves. And they do. That's why I think this is their turning point. And this is as much as this scene is gut wrenching and it broke my heart when I first watched it. Like, I've seen it a million times now. I'm kind of desensitized.
Yeah.
But when I first watched it, my heart plummeted to my toes. But really, this is the moment that we realize everything's going to be okay with these two, because they're willing to talk. They can say hurtful things, but they allow the space for each other to be messy. Like, they don't know how they're going to get through it yet, but they know they're going to get through it. Because she says, what will this marriage be? Right?
Yes.
She's giving him the ability to tell her, okay, you know, I'm in this to win this. Like, what is this marriage going to be?
Yes. So on that note, I think that one part of growing in a relationship is, you know, when we're in our field, a very human reaction is, I want to do and say the thing that gets me out of this feeling as quickly as possible. But that's not always necessarily fair to your partner, who may need more time to process it. And so you kind of have to learn each other's communication styles and love languages and all of those. And it's not always compatible with your own. And that's not to say that you're not compatible. It just means that you need to learn how to compromise. Like, I used to be I'm feeling bad. I need to fix this problem right this very second, because I can't live in these big feels. But that's not always necessarily what people needed. And it wasn't fair for me to be like, well, we need to deal with this now, because I can't sit in this feeling, you know, whereas sometimes people are like, I need space or time, you know, and I've learned to just, if you actually just let things sometimes they resolve themselves. Sometimes people just need time, and that if you try to force an immediate reaction, it's not going to go the way that you want. But if you just give it time and then deal with it. But like, I think when you're so used to being in fight or flight mode, everything feels very urgent. And especially with the fact that they have a wedding coming up so soon, Penelope feels like she's been fight or flight her whole life because of the way her family is. So she's like, I need out of these feelings. I want this to be fixed now. Like, I need to know, are we getting married? Like, I need to know how I'm supposed to be reacting right now.
Ooh, and that just makes me think of too, like the entrapment line. Look at the argument that Colin and Eloise had, and they finally
Yes.
resolved some of their issues in that argument, right? But
Yes.
how did that argument happen? He came out and immediately confronted her,
Yes.
and then she spars back, and then she snaps at him. They both escalate the argument so that they can have their feelings back and forth, and they clear the air.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, because there are people, like you said, who need to fix it right away, or fix it in a way that, like, Colin's living in big feels. He wants to get them out. Not that he wants to necessarily
I think he can bar with
yell
the
at
sister
her,
way easier than what he can with Penelope. Like, I know that I'm snippy
because
with my
Penelope
parents.
doesn't explode.
Yes,
Eloise
it's
exploded.
it's fine when it's
Penelope did
reciprocal.
not.
No, so
Yeah.
if you're yelling at someone who just sits there and quietly takes it and cries, that's an awful feeling. But like, I mean, if it's if me and my parents or whatever are barbing, like, I mean, it's not often, but like sometimes, the Greek spice comes out.
The fire comes out. Yeah.
The fire comes out. But I would never ever talk to Stephen that way because like then it's abusive.
Right. Like, and if you look at that scene, so he says, maybe this is another part of your planned entrapment, pushing a button, right? Pushing a button.
Mhm.
He's hoping she explodes so they can just have it out, I think.
Yeah.
But she says, Colin, I didn't mean to entrap you. I love you. She stayed calm. She stayed quiet. She said her honest, sincere thing. Then he felt like an ass.
Because you saw the look, like when she says she loves him, his whole demeanor changes and he realizes, like, I
He
think
deflates.
he deflates. It's like I'm being cruel to this woman, and like, yes, she did wrong, but she does love me. Like, and I think that was a big part of his fear and his anger towards her, was thinking maybe she didn't love me and this was all just a ploy. But I think her earnestness here and her hurt in saying, I didn't do any of this because of that, is because I did everything with the love of I have for you in mind. And I think that actually really helped him move on the way that he needed to. Like, I think he needed to hear the words, I love you, I truly love you.
Yeah.
More than
And I think this
more than
whole
he
next
needed in a
part,
sorry.
yeah, this whole next part was them moving forward. Like, it's
Yes.
awkward and it's messy, but it is them both. It's kind of like that point in a fight where is, especially, let's talk about, they're not married yet, right? So let's talk. And even in a marriage, sometimes people think about divorce and how do they decide to stay in it and how do they decide to go. And this is that moment, this is that defining moment for them where they both say, I choose us. I choose us. I want to work through this argument, this conflict, and ultimately we are a team and we're in this together. And she says, what will this marriage be? We're in this together. What is it going to look like for us?
Well, and he
says that depends.
Dependent on whether or not she's going to cease publishing Whistledown.
No, he didn't say you have to.
No.
He asked.
He's saying that their future of what their marriage is going to look like depends on whether she's going to cease writing Whistledown. If she doesn't cease it, their marriage is going to look very different, in his opinion. If she ceases it.
That's a lot of words that you gave Colin that, I mean, and I know I'm the big one for saying, like, you got to look at what they say, but you do. He's asking her. He has to know. And it's not that he's going to make the marriage be worse if she stays Whistledown. He needs to know if she's going to continue Whistledown, because his decision-making process changes from that point on. Yes. And we see how it changes, because even though he's angry with her, what does he do from this moment on where she says she's not sure if she's going to end Whistledown? He protects her identity at all costs. He evades questions from his brothers. He out and out almost lies to Anthony, but he just doesn't say anything. Kate's figured it out. But that's the choice he made. Like,
But
he needs to know if she's going to be whistled down or not.
This is his exact words. What will this marriage be? And he says, that depends. I noticed there was no whistle down this morning. Are you going to stop publishing? I do not know. He looks angry. Let us get through this wedding and then we will decide what this marriage will be. And I think like it was kind of him, not kind, but like
it came off in a way threatening. I'll give you that. And I think it was meant.
But I also think that he was also saying, like, you have a say in this. Like, I wasn't given a say with Marina. Everything was done for me. You have a say in how this is going to play out, and we need to decide that together. But I think this was what he was saying. He was saying,
but I don't think he's going to make the marriage sour if she chooses to be Whistledown. I think it's just going to change how he operates within it.
Well, I didn't say that he was going to make it sour. He was saying how it plays out is dependent. Like, he's saying, I don't know how I'm going to feel depending on which way you're going to go. I may not forgive you. I may forgive you. I don't know until we actually cross that road. Like, he can't. And I think that's why he is saying to her, he's giving her the option that he wasn't given with Marina was, we will figure this out together, but now's not the time to figure it out. Like, we just need to get through this wedding and then we will figure it out together, because he's like, I was never given that option with Marina. Everything was told and dead and done and said for us.
Right. And I think that, I mean, obviously he wants her to end Whistledown, but unlike other marriages in the ton, he's not going to take away her autonomy.
Yes.
And how he acts in the marriage is going to be very different. And we see her choice to remain Whistledown and remain anonymous. He chooses to protect her, but it's coming at the detriment of his relationship with his family. And she ultimately sees that. But he still chooses her. Yeah. Even though she wants to continue Whistledown, he still chooses her. So we know from this moment, as we look back, we didn't in the moment it was playing for the first time, but looking back, we know that neither outcome was going to necessarily be, I'm never going to forgive you. I'm going, our house is going to be ridiculously toxic,
But you can tell that that's kind of how she's taking it when he asks her the question, because she looks terrified, and she actually looks the way that she looks in this scene reminds me of her being belittled or scorned by a father, like someone that you're really afraid of, because she looks truly like a little girl.
And she grew up watching her parents be in a marriage that was toxic and not unloving, and she was afraid she just got herself in the same situation.
Yeah. And I think she'd prefer be single than to live that life, even if it meant being with Colin.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not the Colin that she loves.
She's like, I wanted the Pollen version, not the Timu version. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted Colin, not Anthony. Yes.
Oh my God. I think that's how it would be though if Penelope and Anthony got together. Because that kind of plays out in the fandom a little bit, like where people thought Anthony could have been with Penelope. No,
never, ever.
Never.
She is way too timid for him. He needs someone who can bite back.
She's timid, but she has some bite, and he's too controlling.
Yes, I actually
it would be ugly.
I actually really like this interaction between Violet and Portia, because Violet is noticing the space between Pollen and Portia, and she draws Portia's eyes to it. Portia is like, "Oh, it is good to see Mr. Bridgerton here today." And Violet replies that they should want to spend time together. Portia cannot keep up with the double meanings, and she's just like, "I do not know why they are fighting, nor do I." Like, she's like, I can't keep up this ruse. I can't be bothered. Can we just plain talk, please?
Well, and that's the thing, like, if you fit in Varley's for this rather long tour, and both of the women kind of snicker a little bit. Yeah, both of them kind of snicker a little bit. We're found out, like, we were just trying to get them together.
Yeah.
They're bonding over their kids. Like, these two mamas that have nothing in common.
Oh my Lord, how long has this been on private for? Sorry, I'm unprivating our videos.
Yeah, I guessed that.
Bonus season's gone private again, and that was from
Wednesday
the 25th.
Wednesday. Yeah.
So I don't even know how long that's been private. Sorry, you're letting us down.
She must be busy.
A designated
Yeah, you're supposed to let us know. I've had a busy weekend. I had to go to a wedding and stuff. I did not check it. I haven't even to it yet. So
no, and I had died here, so I wasn't online much at all.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like they were found out. This was their ruse, and now they're bonding over the worry over their kids, because their kids belong together. They both can see that. They have both realized how much their children love each other, but this is their first fight. And I think they also both recognize that their kids have never I mean, Portia's daughter has been in some conflict, right? But she's
Mm-hmm.
never been even courted a little bit. So we can see that these two mamas do have something in common, that ultimately they both love their kid.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's how, like, we kind of see them be cool with each other from this.
Yeah, because I think they both have like a mutual understanding with each other that they want what's best for their children. Because at the end of the day, that is Portia. Like she wants what's
Yeah.
best for her, but then secondarily, she wants what's best for her daughter.
Well, she wants what's best for her children in so much that it also benefits her.
Yes. All right. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have anything, no, I was pre-reading my already known script. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please head to the no. Okay, this is all new wording. Let me just look at the words properly here. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please find the Ladies Bridgerton on Facebook or YouTube and enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you are listening to your podcast.
I did give you fair warning.
I know, but my brain doesn't
Changed
because
it.
my brain is so used to reading the words that even while I'm reading, my
Yeah.
brain's like, I know the next word, I know the next word. And because
Yeah.
it's still similar enough that my brain just
Yeah,
naturally
I made
goes
it
to
similar, but I just, because we tacked on the stuff after we
streamlined.
started
Yeah,
YouTube.
you
So
streamlined it.
yeah, I streamlined it a little bit. Yeah, and this is the first time we read it. So we have a good ways to go from here. We have a baseline now.
Once again.
Yeah, and we're never going to get once again. So, and once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two
Two.
mad women.
Mad tongue-tied. Well, one's tongue-tied.
Mad for Bridgerton
Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
and Lady Patty.